Hello, good morning from you. Welcome to our teleconference entitled Business and Sustainability. We have truly international teleconference because we have our speakers from Germany online, we have a speaker from Shanghai online, and we have our cameras in Astana, at Astana Global Forum. The main idea today to discuss a very important issue, relations between business and sustainable development. For last couple of years, we talk a lot about sustainable development, and policymakers believe that it's the future of the global community. And what actually thing happening? Everyone among policy-making world believes that business will pay for sustainable development. And we know all those 17 plans, 17 goals are not cheap, they're very expensive. And today we'd like to hear different views about sustainable development, about business attitudes to sustainable development, and indeed, who is going to pay for that? Online today we have Mr. Konstantin Chamber. He's president of Center for Strategic Intercultural Communication, and he is a founder of international conference, Asian European Business Innovation Congress. Hello, Konstantin. And we also have Thomas. He's executive manager for Agco Corporation, and he's we're talking about on behalf of business. And next online we have Karl Heinz, and he's the president of Association of Medium-Sized Business Enterprises, and he is also online. Hello, everyone. And my first question: what do you think about sustainable development? Is it future of business or is it expensive for business? When you speak, you have floor is yours. Mr. Thomas?
The connection is really not good. Could you repeat just the question, and I will put my my microphone on mute so that it might not disturb.
Okay. The question is, what business thinks about sustainable development goals? Are you ready? And are you ready to accept the sustainable development goals, or do you believe it's just another toy for policymakers?
Well, it's a good question. I think sustainability will be a big topic in the future, and corporations like our corporations are aiming for sustainability in a lot of ways. Sustainability in energy consumption, sustainability in material development for our machinery we are selling. So definitely a topic. It is, however, a complicated topic because every governmental environment has its own idea, and there's no common platform on how to approach sustainability to begin with, and therefore we as a corporation mainly struggle to adapt to all the different business markets we want to enter. So that's our biggest hurdle, is basically what government is in charge and how do they want to push for sustainability in their own environment.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And what about Konstantin? What about your view? You organized the international conference in 2000 in Almaty, and brought together about 200 people representing business community and policy making community and academic community. So what is your opinion from your discussions with all those people?
Well, we indeed already had 3 conferences held in different places, and we had the chance and the honor to have many speakers coming from different companies, organizations, non-governmental organizations. And to be honest, it is quite tough to win the audience, the attention of the audience, to something which is not necessarily related to business directly. Because mainly the business is focusing on profit. This is a very natural issue. But the thing with sustainability is, this is a kind of a project. It's kind of an attempt at an approach which is very long-term oriented. And in the nowadays societies, it doesn't matter you go west or east, many corporations are focusing on short-term profit, either than to take a look what's going to happen in 10, 20 or 100 years. And I think this is our challenge, at the same time a very interesting issue to put forward, to have the attention from the business community by trying to say them that the sustainability is not an option of a choice. It's an option, it's an obligation, in fact. Sooner or later, you will have, doesn't matter you're a customer or you're a businessman, you will have to face the consequences of bad or not smart business doing or environmental activities. So for us, it was quite challenging to win the hearts and the minds of business people and academicians and try to bring them together just to make sure they have a common understanding that the sustainability is an important issue, and this is not an option, but this is an obligation. We succeed to some extent, but I think there's a very long way to go, but we will try our best to keep this direction, and I'm very glad that more and more companies and organizations are joining our platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin. You know, I talk also to many people from business community, and there is like two approaches. One is, yes, we're ready to support sustainable development goals, but there is American thinking. Not me, not you, someone behind the tree. So someone supports to make someone supports to make, but I will today and now. What about Carl? You have a large community of business people in your association of small and medium enterprises. What your colleagues think about this? Are they ready to pay from their profit for sustainable development goals?
Well, I would like to continue what already speakers said before. Our first goal in the business environment is of course and for sure to make profit. But then at the end of the day, if you are really doing sustainability, you have to go in the middle to long run. And then you already have some very good examples in some business environments, for example in Europe, where you see the family-run businesses which have a longer run already behind them, and they have to do it in the sustainable way, because if you are in the business for 50, 70, 80, 100 years or even longer, then you have to have a certain business model which is sustainable. In other regions of this world, you are going more and more to short-term profit, and these businesses have to modify their business model. Otherwise, they kick them out by their business model out of the market, because it's just driven onto the profit in the short term, and there is no vision and no planning for real midterm to long-term business activity. So at the end of the day, and also the resources are going less and less, we have to go on a more sustainable way in the future even if it takes quite some time, when we are at that point where we can say we are, in a certain way, we are sustainable.
Thank you. Very interesting. Here that Mr. Carl said we can make profits out of development. A lot of development do profit. What do you think? Is it or Mr.
Rafis, you're gone. I cannot hear you. Can you repeat your question?
I think, guys, just if we all put on mute, I think it is a backflash on the microphone. So everybody who's not talking has to make the effort to put the computer on mute, because otherwise a lot of echo.
Okay. So, Rafis, I will put my microphone on mute and please repeat your question.
Okay, from Carl, we could hear that a very interesting angle. So it's possible to make profit from sustainable development, and we're talking about building the green economy and what I call SDG economics. So do you think it's possible to do a lot of profit, long-term, short-term profit, and who's supposed to pay for changing business models? Government or society or business people supposed to pay for out of their own pocket? Thomas.
Well, that's again a very interesting question. Who at the end will pay? I guess we all have to do make our sacrifices to make it work. It's never only the government. It's never the corporations. It is never the society in particular. It is always a joint effort. If I look at countries like South America, Brazil, where sustainability and business empowerment is, especially on the agricultural market, quite interestingly organized. I'm not judging here whether it works or not. I'm just making an example how things could work out for a whole nation if it is managed in the right way. They have so-called local content laws. That means as an OEM manufacturer, I cannot just import machines and sell them for profit, even though I can make them cheaper elsewhere. I have to make sure if I want to sell a product, it is subsidized, especially in the agricultural business. That's quite interestingly done around the world. And I can get only this subsidy if I support local content in terms of parts machined or purchased in Brazil. That gives other entities the possibility to gain knowledge and also to make profit as a whole. On top of that, some of the entities in other countries say you can make business with local content, but you have to have an environmental impact. So you cannot go to a specific supplier who doesn't obey our environmental laws. So I think it's a mixture out of the attitude of the company wanting to sell the products and the possibilities the government provides such an entity to basically combine the efforts to make a sustainable impact in that one country. And again, as I said, the sad part is that a lot of nations are not talking to each other, and everybody is inventing more or less their own things, how to make it sustainable without having a global common platform, which makes it quite difficult as a corporation to make a judgment whether it's worthwhile to invest in one country versus the other one. Obviously at the moment, and I personally would say it is very much profit oriented and not based on anything else, because the stock market works like this and our main markets work only if a company makes profit.
Thank you. And here we have one more angle. Who is going to coordinate and who should go coordinate? So idea was that on the ground level it's supposed to be national government, but no, it doesn't work always. And the next level should be regional organizations, maybe like YOS, Association of Small and Medium-Sized Businesses, or maybe United Nations, or maybe World Bank. Who should be in the driving seat? Maybe Thomas, any contributions from you? And then Konstantin.
Yeah. My personal, just excuse me for a second. I just have to switch. No, it works. The My personal point of view is it would be great to find a common group of, or not a common, but a group of people with representatives out of each group of interest and create a standard. I think you will never convince one nation or the other nation from it if you don't show that this standard is sustainable and this standard has a certain quality with it. What I refer to is we have the metric system, and why people or nations refer in engineering to the metric system, because they know the parts fit to each other if I stick to the rules. And I think ultimately that could be an idea if the right people get together and create certain ground rules. What is sustainable, and if you follow that, you are sustainable and you do sustainable business. Maybe more and more people, more and more nations, more and more entities will jump onto that running train. Then I think it just needs an initial start from a brave group of people, and maybe a brave enough government to really make a change.
Okay, maybe a question to you, Konstantin. So from your discussions with business community, with academic community and policymakers, what do you think? What kind of driver it should be? Should be a driver like representing office of UN, World Bank, or maybe representing like formal business community, like maybe business association, or maybe informal discussions like you had last April, and what you plan to have in November in Almaty?
Well, I think the question is, who is gonna be the someone who will profit from the sustainability? By the end of the day, this are human beings. But this is probably too theoretical, too philosophical. So I think we have to make a differentiation between internal and external motivation. If you talk to small, medium-sized enterprises, many of them are private businesses, they are really willing to support sustainability, and they are really willing to take care of the actions they are producing. Why? Well, because this is the future of them. If they do not care about employees, if they do not care about the good quality of the product, they will be gone from the market. So I think this, if you take a look at the small, medium-sized enterprises, they have a very specific motivation, which is internal based, because they have a family business or private business, and they are very keen to make it profitable. At the same time, they have external motivation, namely the customers, namely the surroundings, the social environment around them, which is asking for some new good quality products. So for them to make a good quality products in a long-term solution is actually something which is very obviously, because they have a personal belief sustainability is something which is good for us, for human beings, for the entire planet. At the same time, they have the financial interest not to disappoint customers with cheap, poisoned, whatever products. So if you take a look on a big corporations, multinational companies, they have a bit different motivation, a bit different actings. They are more political, certainly. If you are a big corporation and you're worldwide acting, well, you cannot be not political involved. And this is exactly what Thomas is talking about. There is no common understanding what are the rules of a game. So how can a big corporation have a certainty that the initiative which was created by them in one country will bring the same good results in another one? This is not the case. Because it may happen, and this is actually what sometimes happens, as far as I know, a corporation, a big multinational company, establish a kind of a behavior model in one society, in one country, very successfully. Then this corporation tries to do the same thing in a different country, and it doesn't work. Because there are different law requirements, because there are different expectations from the government, from the society. And in this case, we all are talking about the globalization, but in fact, we are still very national-oriented companies and countries, which is a big and challenging point in this issue, because I do believe we will have much less problems with implementation of sustainability if we will have a kind of common understanding what is all about and what is profitable and what is not profitable if you do certain things.
Thank you very much. It's summarizing our discussion. We have another 5 minutes. I would try to summarize in the following ways. So I am happy that if I have a stake, I can have sustainable stake. It will be well done, nicely done, without any pollutants, without any pesticides, and the businesses are ready to pay for that. That my steak is clean, nice, and tasty. But the problem is the government doesn't, or many governments do not allow to coordinate efforts between businesses to make sure that the steak will be even more tastier. So let us imagine a situation, and it will happen very soon. So you are in one room with a prime minister or with prime ministers, and you have a chance 1 minute to tell him about your concerns, about your vision of future. What will be your elevator pitch? 1 minute you have with prime minister. What will you suggest to him or to them, to top level policymakers, those who can make differences? So floor is yours. Maybe Thomas will start, followed by Carlos and Konstantin, and we will round up our discussion.
Just the last sentence again. I'm very sorry. I apologize, but the connection just then. I saw your picture and I saw you speaking, but I didn't hear you. So I apologize for that.
Okay, let us imagine that you are in a room with a prime minister or prime ministers from different countries, and you have 1 minute to have his ears on your suggestions. What will you suggest to do? What you'll suggest to change to make sure that sustainable development or what they call SDG economics will work properly? And I give an example with a steak. I would like to have nice, organic, tasty steak, and it seems to me business is ready to pay for my steak, so to make sure it is better. But I have only one problem with the governments.
Well, 1 minute is obviously a challenge to do that, but I would try my best to start up with saying that nothing comes without a price, and if we don't, oh, now the camera works, great. I don't know why, but so hello to everybody. I think ultimately what I would like to say is nothing is coming without a price, and we all need to be committed to pay a certain price, and the willingness of the government to allow to understand why a corporation is either wanting to enter the country or not wanting to enter the country, and also the long-term commitment from corporations towards a country. That is would be my, I would say, starting point of the discussion. Only if we make long-term commitments in both directions, it works. If the government is not strong in commitments, the company will always be hesitant to really commit to a country or a nation or a region. And unfortunately, that is a vice versa. That's based on two ways. So I guess that's the starting point. Again, for me, making a base is the start of everything. If you don't have a solid base, you can have a lot of other initiatives, but they will always be on a loose ground, and therefore they will never grow into something strong.
Thank you. What about Carl? So again, question is, who is going to pay for my steak? Or steak for everyone? And what will you say to Prime Minister? Okay, Carl probably is getting ready. He's really writing down his big speech for Prime Minister. Konstantin, what about you? You're on the screen now. I can see you.
Okay, I understand. In this case, we have to have a certain ground basic of that group or of that country, and therefore we have to have a mission which we really want to fulfill. And what I'm seeing in the past years in a lot of countries, there's a common sense is going weaker and weaker. And if you have a common sense in a certain group, then you really can fulfill these targets, and also in this case the sustainability. Because if everybody is in that stream and in that understanding, in that common understanding, still the people are ready to go for sustainability. You have to have some light fires, some extraordinary projects which you can showcase, and then you will get really also all of the other ones onto the track to fulfill and to go for the sustainability. That's still my understanding.
Well,
Thank you very much. And now, Konstantin, your turn.
well, if I would have the opportunity to talk to such high-level people, I probably will say that they are focusing a lot on governmental level and on the level of law implementation. But I think nowadays a national law does not necessarily is an international law. And we might probably do a better thing if we will focus on customers who are educated and customers who have a certain position to a certain product or certain quality. So I think this is kind of a soft power which in one country and one society can be used to provide a kind of motivation for corporations to change their behavior. Because every big corporations, with almost no exceptions, is profit oriented. So the idea of the government support or government initiative should be try not necessarily to pursue the corporations by creating or implementing several laws, but also by motivating customers to change the behavior and the idea of what is sustainability, so they in their turn will have a lot of soft power on the market, and this could be one of the solutions, I do believe.
Thank you very much indeed. And on this optimistic note, I would like to say that we came to a very nice conclusion. So probably one of the conclusions is to have more discussion like this online. And I would like to say that G Global wants to organize International Investment Forum Almaty in November. Let us come together next month again with maybe different people with different contributions and think what we can say to prime ministers and the ministers and the high-level policymakers from UN, from World Bank, from EBRD, from other institutions, the investment forum when we have, and if we have chance to talk to them. And on this note, I would like to say thank you very much to everyone. Good morning from New York to Frankfurt, Germany, and to Shanghai, London, and to Astana. So thank you very much, and see you.
Thank you, Rafiz. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Karl-Heinz.
Thank you, Konstantin. Thank you, Thomas.
So you can log off from your computer.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.